It is that time of year again. It is HHN season 2026, and it is the 35th anniversary of Halloween Horror Nights this year at Universal Orlando. We are doing something a little bit differently because a lot of controversy has come out this year with some of the choices, and we're going to be giving you a perspective of should you or should you not bring your child to Halloween Horror Nights.
Spoiler alert, I'm going to say no.
Now, before we officially get started with everything, you have to know that anticipation is going to be really, really high this year because it is the 35th anniversary. So everybody's coming out and just expecting something quite amazing from Universal. The theme is Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. They're bringing back two iconic figures, Jack the Clown and Dr. Oddfellow.
So Halloween Horror Nights this year goes for 48 nights. It is going from August 28th to November 1st. So this, I think, is the longest run for Halloween Horror Nights that we've had. Now, this is not a deep dive into the event itself. We have 10 houses announced. We have the 4 scare zones. And one of those scare zones is Fort Nightmares. That seemed to ruffle a lot of feathers because that might attract a younger audience.
Yeah, I was actually quite surprised about everybody reacting like that to Fort Nightmares because it might bring in a younger audience. I guess teenagers like to play Fortnite, so there's like thoughts there about, oh, they're probably going to want to come to the event to come and see the scare zone and check out Halloween Horror Nights.
Now, I did go to Halloween Horror Nights last year for the first time in literally 10 years. I think the last time I went was Alien vs. Predator back in 2014. If y'all remember that.
That's the one I went to.
Shout it out in the comments. Actually, that's the year we met also too.
So as soon as you start walking into the event, like from the very beginning, you're getting hit immediately with scare zones. It doesn't really matter where you try to go. There's nowhere for you to really hide. So they do have 4 scare zones. They have the main one with the characters, Jack and Dr. Oddfellow, with the Infernal Carnival of Nightmares. And then they also have, the Fort Nightmares scare zone, Downtown Clown Town. So if your kids have a fear of clowns, or if they don't yet, please don't introduce them to this. They might after this. There's a lot going on here, especially with the scare zones. There's nowhere, especially if they're not used to this kind of environment, there's nowhere for them to really get away from that stuff. Sure, they do have some rides open in the event, but you're on a ride for maybe 5 minutes, if that. I would say it's probably not the best scenario if they haven't been around it before. You can clearly tell it's an adult Halloween event if adults are not allowed to dress in costume. That one is kind of obvious. You do have a bunch of characters running around, so at certain points you won't be able to tell who's there for the event, who's the worker that's supposed to be scaring you versus the creepy guy out there that's trying to mess with you. So I feel like that kind of gives you a hint this is a little bit more than Mickey's Not So Scary. So
playing the good cop here. All right. I got you guys. I can tell you, it's not that bad. The scare zones. Let's talk about the ones in, say, the beginning, as soon as you walk in the park. I believe Infernal Carnival of Nightmares is going to be as soon as you come into the park. That's what you're going to be greeted with. And I would say the most intense scare zones are, of course, at the entrance because that's your first impression of Halloween Horror Nights. But then I will also say New York because the fog gets so thick in New York. I feel like that is where, when people say see you in the fog, they're talking about see you in New York because that's where all the fog really is. And I think that's what adds to the element of Halloween Horror Nights. I would say those are the 2 most intense scare zones. I think overall, it's not really meant to be scary. It's more, I would say, it's just the spectacle. It's walking around taking pictures with the scare actors if they're not trying to scare you, of course.
If they're not trying to scare you.
But I wouldn't even call it scary, though. I honestly don't think that Halloween Horror Nights is meant to be scary, and we'll talk a little bit more about this towards the end. Really, it doesn't feel like it's like that. It just feels like a hangout and boo, kind of thing. I don't think it's any different than what you would experience at Disney, except for obviously the outfits, the whole
blood.
thing. Well, other than that stuff, it's not that bad. But going to some of the houses now, Ashley, why wouldn't someone want to check out some of the houses? I really want to see the Cybergoria house. That's really interesting to me. The fact that you have to stay alive until you die, kind of thing. They're keeping you alive for the whole concept to me is really cool. So why would you want to ruin my fun?
I will say there is the point with the scare actors. Obviously, they're coming and they're jumping out at you, but you also have to take into account that all of your senses are getting hit at once, which I would imagine that would be amplified for someone who's even 13, because they do recommend like 13 and up. It's just different things like that, those layers that are added on outside of the obvious, like, oh, there's somebody gonna go boo every 5 seconds while you're in there.
Universal does have on their website, they do make it very clear this event is not recommended for children under 13. Now, I can't say I haven't seen children under 13 last year. Well, I think we would all agree we probably would want to bring someone under 13 to this event. But Ashley, back when I was in elementary school, I grew up here in Florida for the most part. My friends at school, this is back in 4th and 5th grade. My friends were coming back to school talking about, man, did you go to Halloween Horror Nights? Oh, I'm so excited to go Halloween.
Oh
this,
my gosh.
we're 11, what, 10, 11 years old? Like,
Okay,
come on.
did they go with their parents, or did their parents like drop them off?
We don't ask questions as to how they got there. Look, the fact is they were there in the fog and I was not. So I was very, as you can imagine, very heartbroken over that. So I didn't get a chance to experience Halloween Horror Nights in its heyday back in like 03, 04 and all of that.
Oh,
but
that was in its heyday.
yeah, well, I would say that because the houses are laid out the way they are, you wait in line for a tremendous amount of time and you go inside these houses and you're walking through. It's a walk-through attraction. While a lot is going on, you do have a good idea of what's about to happen next, because typically you are in front of somebody, you're behind somebody. So there's people around you. You don't really get separated much. There's not much distance between you and the person in front of you.
I guess
In some
that's why they
cases.
tell you not to ever go alone.
Right, unless it was Rave of Flesh last year. If you guys remember that house, shout it out in the comments there. That house was the only one that I can remember where we got separated quite a few times because the fog got so intense.
Oh my
and you
God.
have these carcasses hanging above you, and it's literally, and the house itself was like a whitish, grayish kind of layout. It was like a very monotone looking set. But the thing is, it's just because because of the colors and the fog, it was very disorienting. And
Didn't
I
you
will
have
say,
to like walk through the carcasses? Like you could like you have to like push your way through.
yeah.
See,
So it
another
was,
sensory
but
thing
no.
added on top of that. No, no.
I'm going to win this round. So that is what I would describe it as far as the houses go specifically. But one in particular that I'm looking forward to is the Ozzy Osbourne house, because that one doesn't really seem like it's going to be huge on the thrill factor anyways. It's Ozzy Osbourne. It's just basically just going to be a big tribute to music. Sure, it'll be dark, but I don't think it'll be scary. So if you like music, and kids like music, they can experience that.
I've been loving what they've been doing with those kinds of houses as far as like doing the tribute stuff, like the WWE house, although I thought that one was actually scary too.
Is there anything else that parents should be on the lookout for as to why they shouldn't bring their child?
Characters don't care how old your kid is. If you're at the event, you're getting scared. Now, I know they had the necklaces last year for the, basically it was like this necklace that you could put on and lights up. It was red and these characters had to avoid you, which for one, I thought was kind of pointless, because where you really need it, like in the houses, if you want to see the stuff without getting scared, it doesn't work in the houses. It only works in the scare zone. I don't know if they're bringing it back this year because I haven't heard anything about it. But outside of that, if you don't have something like that with you, they are going to scare you. It doesn't matter. They don't have any mercy, and nor should they. See, I mean, I don't even feel like it's for younger people, because I would use something like that, because I like to look at all the stuff and I want to see the artwork too and enjoy the event. I don't like being jump scared.
You mentioned it earlier, if your child is already into horror or Halloween stuff and watches those movies or watches Stranger Things or plays Fortnite during Halloween season, yeah, overall, I don't think that there's much that they're really missing out on as far as the overall event. Yes, there's a little bit of risque things out there. There might be
I think
some...
about Nightmare Fuel as well. It's like a burlesque type of show, and it's just like not the best one for kids.
But if you're going to bring them, then just cover their eyes, right? Speaking of show, they do have a Lagoon show, which has been told that it's going to be coming back this year. Definitely not scary at all. It's basically just one big giant tribute to Halloween, but on the Lagoon. So it's a nice little thing to do, especially if you don't want to wait in line for the rides, for the houses. It can be as chill or as thrilling as you want it to be as an experience.
Right. Because, I mean, they do have a ton of food that you can go and eat as well. The themed food, if your kid is a foodie. And then they also have, like Jordan said, the nighttime show. And then you still have access to the rides as well. Question is, would you want to pay all that money to make sure your kid is not getting scared, or you really have to weigh out that option to see if it's worth that kind of money to you?
And also what they have is the Scream Early ticket. So that means if you don't have daytime admission already, you can buy a ticket to the event that starts at 2 p.m. now instead of 3 p.m. like as it has historically. So if you have younger ones with you and you don't really want the atmosphere of HHN, but you still want a little bit of HHN in your day, this is a way that you can get some of those things out the way early, and not only just for a fear perspective, but also from a strategic perspective too. You get to not only ride the rides, but you also get to wait for some of those houses, get them out the way ahead of time. And by the time the event actually starts, which is usually around 7 p.m., you have already pretty much
Done everything.
done most of everything.
This is huge because this is the first year that they're doing something like this.
And also, you have access to the unmasked tour, which is basically when you get to walk the houses. It is an extra charge. It is a different ticket, separate ticket. Look that up on the website. But it is when you get to go through the houses with the lights on. So you get to see everything in its detail. So if your kid is into set design, if they are artistic by nature, this would be a really cool event for them.
Yeah, highly recommend something like that for them.
If we're all being real here, like if I had the choice, well, I guess we do have the choice because we don't bring them. We personally, if you're asking us, we don't bring our kids to HHN because for obvious reasons. If we're dropping the act here, honestly, like it's way too intense for kids. Like, yeah, sure, it's not that scary like it used to be. It's not like, someone's gonna touch you, or which I don't think they ever did, to be fair, allegedly. Also, why would you want to have your kid there? I mean, like, right. we would love a date night. Those are hard to come by. I think people in general, I think adults should be adults. This is an adult event. Okay, there are drinks. If I were to go to HH, if it were just us, I would want a drink in my hand too, and not have a kid next to me.
Right.
Let's be real here. We're all adults here, right? So I want a drink. I want to eat all the food. I want to go through all the houses. Right. And if I don't have Express Pass and I have to wait in line for these houses, which you will wait at least 1, 2, maybe 3 hours for one house to go through, would you really want to be in that line with a child? We love our kids. Obviously, we love our kids.
Yeah,
but not for HHN.
I do think the obvious thing is if your kids are on the younger side, it's an obvious, like, please don't bring them. But I will say, parents, if you have older kids, like teenagers, please go to the event with them or send some kind of chaperone with them. Nobody that doesn't have kids is going to say that. We're going to say it because we have kids. Please. Go with your kids. Don't send your teenagers out there by themselves.
Hey, if you enjoyed that, and if you think that you got something from that, then let us know. We will be possibly covering more HHN stuff here on the channel because we plan on, I know we say it every year, but we do plan on going this year. We actually do. I mean, I did go last year, to be fair, and I went 3 times last year and experienced it in its entirety. I plan to go more times this year, so maybe I can drag Ashley along with me. But if you want to see those adventures, be sure to subscribe. We have a lot more coming. We can't wait to see you guys in the fog. We'll see you next time.
Bye.